John, good evening.
Good evening. I got to switch for a little.
You also know how I feel, don't you?
Want this one?
Oh, well, I'm all set up with the outlet.
No, you
is anybody-
push the chair down.
Yeah, I'll get the.
I did that on purpose because he always makes me sit in the short one.
Get this.
Okay, I will call the meeting of the Tilton Budget Committee to order. A quorum is present. We are missing Mr. Bossy and Eric today. Other than that, all members are accounted for. Okay, in your package you have meeting minutes. Would you please take a look at them?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I second that.
Any discussion, corrections, additions, or subtractions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Our first and lead-off person of the night is from Winnie Transit. Come on up, sir. Have a seat and have a microphone. Make this quick and painless.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, my name's Jim Sudak, from Community Action Program Director of Winnipesaukee Transit. And I want to thank everybody. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for your time. Start right off with thank you for your support from last year or this year going on. And we appreciate everything. It helps everybody involved, the residents and everybody in the town. Basically, just to give you a quick update, last year of what we consider 2014 fiscal year, which is from July to June, Winnipesaukee Transit did just under 7,000 rides, which is 6,989 rides for the year, which I believe it was 1,987 were either in or out of the town of Tilton. So in other words, what we call boarding and alightings, in other words, to destination and from.
What was the total again?
For the rides for the town was 1987.
Oh, the total, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. 6,989.
Thank you.
For the town of Tilton, again, either going in or out of town using Winnipesaukee Transit, there was 1987 for the year. And believe it or not, it was a 28% of Winnipesaukee Transit's rides.
Wow.
So it's climbing in Tilton, it really is. it's almost hard for us, because we can only ask so much information from the general public on where you go and things like that. It seems as if, from Tilton, in other words, people getting on in Tilton, it's what we consider general, okay? It's a general ride. You could be going, to the malls and things like that, or a store, that we don't have a set place that they're going. Happens to be, that was the majority going out of town. Employment was 149 out of the 1166 is the number leaving town, okay? Which 477 were general, 136 were medical, 221 were personal, so that could be just about anything. They don't care to disclose. 11 employment. Education was 11, employment was 149. Shopping was 172. Coming into town, it was for employment, 180. General was 248, medical was 26, and personal was 176, shopping was 189. So it seems as, the employment, it's climbing. And again, a lot of that, if we go with the general, we don't know. It could be, that's somebody that just steps on the bus and says, I want to get off at X, and we have no idea where they're going or anything like that, so, but the employment's right up there.
Now, I notice you have that all in that document.
Yeah, you can have it.
Can we have that document and we'll make copies? John, would you do that, please?
Yeah, you can keep it. As long as you don't ask any more questions.
No, that's great.
And that's the kind of breakdown that I think we've looked for in the past that we
Right,
haven't
yeah.
gotten. So thank you for taking the time to do
Yeah,
that.
absolutely, thank you. You're looking for flat funding from last year, the same amount?
Yeah, again, the documentation asks for 5.
Yeah,
You gave us 25, and that's great. That's, we don't, especially with the economy.
but you're not asking anymore, you're asking about 5.
You're asking for 5.
We're asking for 5.
I will tell you that I've heard good things from around town about the service, that it's been helpful to the town, and in a subtle way, it's also helped out with our budget,
Oh, okay.
because some of our clients who can't afford regular transportation have taken your buses to get to work, doctor's appointments, and the stores and whatever. So that's been some really pluses that's been from your clients, from the buses.
Good, glad to hear it. Yeah. Hear the good stuff.
So, ready for
Have you
questions?
received any allocations from the state or from federal funding that you know of yet?
Is, we get federal funding every year. That's what
Okay,
actually
but
supports us.
is it going to be the same, or is it going to be cut?
Yeah, we were level funded.
You were level funded, okay.
John, any questions?
What businesses have been helping out? It's Walmart and CVS, have they offered any advertising, or they?
Go in, we knock on doors and everything. It's just, it's coming from, we're getting some out of advertising. Was it, Tanger Outlets was advertising for a while, but they've recently, pulled back, so we're not sure. And Grapponi, believe it or not, Grapponi Ford was advertising. If you look at I think it's still on the back wrap on the bus, what they call a wrap, or, but anyway, it's a back wrap of the bus, and Grapponi Ford, I think they're fighting with Irwin. So,
Well, have you contacted AutoServe? Because AutoServe spends a great deal of money on advertising,
yeah, we have.
and
a
that's
firm.
local here, so that might be
We
a
have a
source
firm.
of
I can
income.
get back to them. Yeah, let me do that.
I mean, I would strongly suggest that you contact them, because I made the comment today of how much money they were spending on advertising, because at least once a week, and sometimes twice a week, they have flyers in all the local papers, and they do a flyer mailing. So I would think that something like that would be beneficial to them, because they compete with Irwin
Oh, yeah, no,
and Grapponi as well, but
Yeah, we have an advertising firm, Alternative Transit Advertising. They take a percentage, and we get the balance, which works out real good all the way around because they're a minority business. And the federal government's always looking, they want to know how much we invest in minority businesses, so it helps that way. But I'll give them a call.
Okay.
John, do you have further questions?
No, that's it.
Dan?
The only question I have is, I see that you have town support, just Laconia and Tilton. Are you asking other towns?
Oh, yeah.
Because just on your breakdown, we're
Yeah,
one of the lowest ones.
Yeah, we hit Guilford, basically where the bus goes, so we're from Guilford to Franklin, and we kind of hit everybody in between, and Guilford's just nothing. Franklin is definitely,
Yep.
absolutely nothing. But we go every year, we put into them, and,
And I appreciate the information you guys gave. I like the breakdown of it, and just getting research from other sources. We just start realizing, and we could say to the taxpayers and the citizens, why we support something like this, because on the face value of it, it just doesn't seem right that, but when you start realizing that the ripple effects of losing it would cost us more than the cost of the actual.
And that was brought forward because a lot of our individuals now are dealing with welfare, dealing with unemployment, dealing with other issues. If the town had to spend the money,
oh, yeah.
that would be more in providing, and it also puts us in a gray area around transportation. What constitutes appropriate transportation to provide certain citizens? And that resolved it, so that's what we're looking at.
I'm shocked that almost a third of your rides come from Tilton, though.
Yeah.
Catherine, questions?
The rides that got on in Tilton, those are just rides. Those are the number of people, but it's not so much the number of families or people served.
Right, it's number of
It's the
rides.
number of rides.
Correct.
And there's no way of knowing if they're residents of Tilton. They got on in Tilton.
They
so
got
you
on
make an
in Tilton,
assumption.
yeah.
So you don't know if it's somebody that got dropped off at the Tanger Outlet Mall from someplace else and then got right back.
Right, they got on in Tilton
Okay.
and got,
And the same with, they got off in Tilton. So the
Yeah.
total 1987, we really don't know for certain how many of those are Tilton residents.
residents itself.
Okay. And there's no way to garner that information, really?
The only, and it would skew your numbers. What we do is we deviate from the route. In other words, we go right up and down Route 3. With a phone call, okay, we'll deviate. We'll go pick them up, take them to where they want to go. If we give you those deviations, you've got Tilton, but it's not a true number.
No.
It's just the deviation is what you would get.
It would just be interesting to know how many families are actually served. Of the, in the communities, you say you go every year, and I just shake my head that they don't support it. But of the businesses that you serve, and you've listed some of them in here, have you approached those for donations other than the advertising? Because I had a conversation with the manager of the Tanger Outlet Mall, and they weren't, let's say, able to give the amount of money for the advertising, but they were willing to give a donation. So have you gone to these stores to ask just for a straight donation of support?
Yeah, basically what happened was, like with Tanger, for instance, and some of them, that they all know that Winnipesaukee Transit is community action. Okay, so what they're seeing is like the Tanger outlets put advertising on the buses in Concord. So all of a sudden, it's all the same pot. It's all community action program. But when it comes down to walking in and going, well, I did support you, but again, we just gotta, and now that they're not on the bus anymore, then what we're gonna do is approach them again, for like you say.
Well, it's like
Just-
just Lakes Future Community College, Tilton Walmart, Market Basket, Belmont Mall. I mean, there's a number of stores in between. at just going in and asking for a donation to support the bus service.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem as though that's been done.
Yeah. We recently, as you guys knew Terry Page.
Yes, I knew Gary.
Yeah, she recently left. She went to bigger and better things, to an engineering firm called RLS and Associates, stole her. So we're now hiring, we're looking to hire again for the same position. And like you say, one of the biggest things that I've went forward with and say, we need a marketing person first, then go for the transportation and everything else. And that's to be able to do the marketing, go to door, looking for the funds to support it. And that's what we need to do.
Good.
So it went from that to that we're looking for someone, like you say, to market, bang on doors, funding, go look for funding.
And marketing, not just for funding, but just to let people know it's out there.
Yeah.
Let them know that you can get
I think
you can
they've
get to
done-
our
I think
outlets, you
they've
can
done
get to our stores.
A
you can
very
get to
good
our-
job of doing that in the last couple of years, since Terry
Yep.
started. And I was one of the people who criticized Terry the most when she first took over the job. And I had to get up in a regional meeting and say, I want to apologize for having said that, because she's done an outstanding job since. And she did. But she had no experience when she first came on board. And,
Right.
so she really started from scratch. And I think she grew the ridership, and she increased the contact with the public.
Right.
Catherine?
Is there still a senior come first with the bus? In other words, if the bus is full of seniors and someone else wants to ride it, there's no seat available?
They can actually, I would have to say no.
Good.
I would have to say no.
Well, there's a senior bus
Right.
that does just seniors. And then there's the bus that does seniors and handicap. And that's separate from the regular bus that takes anybody.
Right. And
How
then
many buses are there?
there's two. There's-
Okay, so there's one for just seniors.
The senior transit.
Then there's one for seniors and handicap, but what about the young mother with kids that,
Same thing. There's-
okay. So that's for all, that's not,
Right.
that's for anyone that needs to use it, even the millionaire on the hill.
You got it.
The senior
Okay.
trend.
And the senior gets a discount on the fare. There is a discount for senior fares.
Right. On the buses too.
The
Right,
senior-
but I'm thinking of the young mother with young kids that needs to get them to whatever.
To a
appointments
daycare.
in this-
And that's what we do.
Exactly, trying to get to work, trying to make it out there and work. That's what we support. And that's what you're asking us to support, is the bus that's for everyone.
You got it, yes.
That's what's important.
And the other thing is too, that is the volunteer driver program.
Right, but
I don't have numbers with me for that.
I think the bus for everyone
Yeah,
is not as well-known out there as maybe the services for seniors.
Correct.
And I think that's the problem. I run into young people that...
Yeah. And that may be part of your marketing.
Bless her.
Right.
When you
Yeah.
hire that person.
Trying to get to doctor's appointments and...
Right. And I think that's part of the marketing stuff, that when they hire onto that.
Right.
That's
But
when,
that's important for,
That's when we
Yes.
that's
can win.
important for this discussion. If we're going to support a bus for everyone, then we can't just stop with, okay, the seniors know it's there. The rest of the population need to know it's there. So that could be done simply by the pamphlets that are dropped off in town with the schedules, posters. That's cheap marketing.
absolutely.
And I know that Wayne and I went to the junior high, the elementary school, and the principal was saying that one of the issues was that parents had trouble getting to school or, for meetings and things like that. And I brought up that Winnie Transit, and she knew nothing about that. So I dropped off some brochures from her office, and we have them down in Town Hall. And when I've gone to the hospital, I've seen them at the hospital. But I think they need to go to other places, like J. Jill. I'm just giving you, because I know that there are people who ride Winnie Transit to get to work at J. Jill. So those are some places I think you need to
Get
publicize
out
your
there,
service.
Put them out there more.
I think with the school system, the principals, guidance counselors, they would be more than glad, because it was really heartbreaking, because a student was sick, and Dad walked a mile in the rain to pick up his daughter and walk her home.
Oh, my word.
And that's just part of the life in Northfield. So if we can do that, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll get them
We have
over there
people
to
that-
the,
Jim, we have people that live right downtown Main Street that are in the apartments here that work at JGO. And last week, they were, looking for a ride to work, and I said, well, why don't you take the bus? And the bus stops right in back of their apartment,
oh, my word.
and they didn't know about
And they-
it. So there is a problem. The doctor's office up here called me for assistance on a young man, but it wasn't an elderly, and we usually get all of those calls, and I explained to her the Winnie Transit. I called down and had brochures sent up to her, but they really don't know that the Winnie Transit
Yeah.
is for everyone. And the difference mostly is the funding. The funding for the elderly one is from the American Elders. And there's certain criteria that they have to meet for that. But the Winnie Transit, there's still a lot of people in Tilton that are not aware of the bus. You try to make them aware of the bus. Even when elder people that are okay and would be fine taking the bus, call for the volunteer driver program on track. And we suggest the volunteer driver program because we're in partnership with them.
right.
And we also suggest the Winnie-Pawtucket Transit, and they'll say, well, just I never even knew, I've lived here for, 10 years, or, where's the bus stop, or whatever.
And we recently got our website up and running, and, all I gotta do is put a link for
We have to
Winnie.
remember, some of these people that can't afford a ride to go look for a job have no computers, they go down to the library or something.
Right.
That's Facebook and everything.
And
on
that's
there.
another place is putting literature in the library. I mean, I think that this area is very, very fortunate to have the Winnie Transit. Very fortunate. I came from Derry, which is a much bigger town than Tilton or any of these surrounding communities, and we had nothing like this, nothing. People had to call cabs and spend exorbitant amounts of money for cabs. So I think, it's very important that we continue to have it and increase it if possible.
Yeah,
And I think the library, because the person, Jennifer, who runs the library, is very good. And the neat part is, she deals with a lot of the kids. You'll be surprised what little kids will bring home to mom and dad
yeah,
and educate them. Pat, go ahead.
yeah.
It's really not a question, it's more of a statement than a question, because I think that, in somewhat Tilton and Laconia are kind of held hostage with this, the Winnie Transit, because we have Franklin, and we have a hospital, and our people need to get to the hospital, and our people, our residents need to go to doctor's appointments that are at the hospital. So you have the Winnipesaukee that goes to Franklin, that also assists Franklin people, but they don't want to contribute. So we contribute because our residents dearly need that, and I fought hard for that stop not to be deleted. And then, on the other hand, you have Laconia and Guilford. What's up in Guilford? Businesses, to support the businesses. There's no, hospital or anything. However, it's the only shopping for the people in Laconia that have, their needs, that meet their needs. And so it's kind of like we're being held hostage because Guilford doesn't want to give anything. And it's us, it's you folks taking them to shop in their town. And it's here, you're taking them down to Hannaford's and the hospital, mostly the hospital. But it's just,
Yeah, you were there through the rage, and
yeah, I was.
we had cut out of
Right,
Guilford, and then all of a sudden, and it was more residents
right.
that all wanted, and even from Tilton here and stuff, that wanted to get over to the Walmarts and whatever over there, and we're all, okay, I mean, if we hear,
Because there was nothing downtown Laconia for them to shop, and they couldn't afford the prices if they just went to Vista Foods. And, Walmart was out there, and Hannaford's was out there, and Shaw's was out there. And so they kept the route. I mean, they came in droves and fought for it, the residents did
right,
at that time. And, I applaud you for working through that, but, at some point in time, I think it's really to go back like you're doing here and really fight for that and give them reasons why, it's Tilton and Laconia that are supporting the end runs here.
the whole thing, yeah.
I think it's necessary for our residents, and I wholeheartedly support it, but the greater picture, that's what it's looking like.
Good. Are there further questions or discussion from either the Budget Committee or the Board of Selectmen?
Just one more for staffing. It says expenses personnel, is that the drivers and
Would be
everything?
drivers, yeah.
That's what the drivers, and the total of that is the 61,624?
Yeah, that's your biggest expense.
It's not that much for keeping a bus system going and also having management and people marketing. 61,000 is, it's really, I don't know how you can get the people, they got to be saints to be going out there and
Yeah, well-
know that it's a good cause.
We're fighting for them all the time.
Yeah. And, one of the things that's always free are press releases. You can do a press release and send it to the paper, and they'll put it in there with a picture, because they're always looking for filler in the paper, and, say I changed the schedule by this, or ridership's up. Press releases are free.
Trading advertising
Some of our
instead of making
citizens
money.
got the bus service increased by going to the press and being on the front page.
Oh, my word,
In
yes.
particular, and both of those people are not deceased, by the way.
Oh,
Cindy Gonerman and her dog, Pinto,
yeah.
and Pat Ufile, who was on your board, I see, on your
Oh,
advisory
Pat. I
committee.
didn't know that.
And
I
Pat
knew about
died.
Cindy.
Pat died within the month.
Right.
Let's see what we can do to help you get the word out.
Good. Sir, thank you for your presentation.
We thank you.
Always welcome.
Yes, thank all.
Catherine, thank you for the
Yeah.
Nice to
questions.
see you again.
Thanks a lot.
You haven't replaced Terry yet, right?
No, not yet. I'm working on it.
I saw the ad that you were advertising.
Good. I have forgotten your name, ma'am. Well, come on up. Come on up, have a seat.
Thank you.
What voice I have left.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name is Judy Scawthorne,
Okay?
excuse me, and I supervise the area center system for the agency, for Belknap Merrimack Cap. Gail Lyman is the Franklin Area Center Director, and she's not able to be here tonight.
Okay.
So you're kind of stuck with me. We're here to present our request for the town support for $23,389. We do gratefully thank the town of Tilton. They've been so supportive of us for well, I've been with the agency over 20 years now, and we've been had very good partnership. This past year, we provided to the citizens of Tilton over $393,000. Now, what that support consists of, and I presume you have it there, but we provide energy assistance to town residents, like fuel assistance, electric assistance, Neighbor Helping Neighbor, which is an emergency program for people that do not qualify for other federal or state programs. We provide emergency food, USDA food to pantries, and then some housing assistance. All of that is run through the Franklin Area Center. Now, what we do with the support we ask is, it is just for the operations of the area center. None of the funds we request from the towns go towards programs. It's just for support. And as you can see at the bottom of our budget, is that the federal share, which is support from the other programs, the percentage we get for admin from fuel assistance and some of the other ones, is 61%, and so to make up to the 100%, we ask the towns this year for 39%. Now, we do serve the other towns around us, and we do request from them, and those are Andover, Danbury, Franklin, Hill, Northfield, Salisbury, and Samerton. And we service those towns as well.
Do you know which of those towns contribute?
They all do,
All of them? Franklin too this year?
a little.
Okay, because last year I know they didn't, that's why.
Well, they ended up giving us a little bit last year.
Okay.
Again, I'm hoping they'll give us a little bit this year, not to the tune of probably their fair share, but they do support us, and the other towns all do.
Are you still looking for a different facility?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I was looking at a couple this week, as a matter of fact. So we really do want to move out of that building. It is a bear to try and heat, cool. It's just a facility we need to get out of. But to try and find something that accommodates us and the requirements we have within our rent restrictions, it's tough, but we are actively looking. Actually, the lease expired in August, this past August, so we're kind of there at a month-by-month basis with the city, and I do hope we're going to find something.
Ready for some questions?
Yes, I am.
Sam,
I don't have any questions.
Catherine, got you this time, didn't I?
Be a teacher.
Support it wholeheartedly, and
Thank you, appreciate that.
I take it back, I do have one question.
Yes.
How is the fuel funding this year? Does it look like it's going to be as weak as it has been in the past?
It's
Federal
weak.
government?
Right now, we just got word that there's a continuing resolution that's been passed in Washington, which means we're going to be funded at 90% of last year's grant. Last year's was 25 million, we're going to be at 23 million right now, but at least we know what our funding's going to be. I'm the fuel assistance director, so I'm hoping, against hope, that we'll get that money in time to get the notifications out to the vendors and the clients. I'd like it to go out next week. While fuel prices are down.
I was going to say fuel prices
You know
are down
what,
right
because if
now.
we've got somebody that's got a $375 benefit, and fuel is at almost $4 a gallon, at $3.79, they can't even get a delivery, because
Right.
a minimum is more than that. Right now, we could get some fuel out there to folks and get them, 100, 150 gallons, and so I'm pushing the state to, we know what we're going to have, let's get us funded. We can't until they give us the money. But it's not going to be great. It's not going to be great. We don't have anywhere near what we need. But if we can just get it out there while the prices are down, that's what I'm praying.
Good.
Praying.
Catherine?
That's
Matt?
my question, thank you.
I wholeheartedly support what you
Tell me right around.
Thank you.
do.
Appreciate it.
150%.
Appreciate it. We appreciate the support.
Great job for the money that
Yeah, everybody I talk to speaks very highly of you guys.
Thank you.
John?
That's about it. I just had a question, and
Sure.
I'm looking at the program travel and some of those expenses. They look like the year-to-date budget is down on them, but what you're expecting to spend is high. Maybe I don't understand why.
Well, because our year isn't over.
And they go up.
Well, travel includes, we have one of our outreach workers goes out and does Meals on Wheels.
Okay.
Throughout, when she gets out in Andover and when it gets expensive, or mileage. But it also includes travel to our annual conference. CAP has an annual training conference for staff every year, and so we pay them mileage to get there, so it's kind of put in there as well.
So you've been, and that's also for getting out to people to interview them for fuel assistance
Yes,
and things like that?
all our outreach work, yep.
Because everybody said that if they can't get there, that you guys have always arrived at their house to help them out.
Yep, we do. If they can't get to us, we get to them. And under my watch, I don't want anybody being
It's
cold
there,
or freezing.
That's great. Saves the town money, too. So we don't
Yes,
have to
well,
pick
as you can see, in fuel assistance last year, we provided a considerable amount. Forget what it was. It's in here somewhere.
Yes, the fuel prices go down, and then they cut the funding a little bit, too. It's the way it works.
It was over $100,000 last year,
That's great.
which does, I mean, we still have to refer to the town when they run out of their benefit, but, and the other thing, we were very fortunate. Franklin Savings Bank has been a tremendous support of us. And a few years ago, they gave us, it totaled up to $100,000 for fuel assistance for folks that don't qualify, for whatever reasons. You know, if you get an elderly couple on Social Security, they can be just over the income guidelines. So they gave us this money to help these kinds of folks in the area that they have, serviced the banks. And I have been tapping into that for those folks so they won't have to go to the towns and the cities, that I can get them a delivery. Now, it's down to like about $15,000 now, but it's been a godsend. It's just been a godsend, and I can't say enough about the support of Franklin Savings Bank for the area that they cover, so.
It's a great commercial, by the way, since this is being taped. You did good. A great commercial, they should pay you. Commercial.
Well, they've been supportive.
John, anything?
That's it.
Shane?
Yeah, I just want to say that I could not support you any more than I do. I think you do an excellent job.
you.
There's two things that I think a lot of people don't know about, and since this is being taped and watched by residents, I'm going to mention them because I've seen them be very helpful to people. One is the emergency food pantry, and I think a lot of residents don't realize that you operate that. And we just got through doing a food drive for the Vicky Virgin Food Drive to restock a local food pantry, but there are times that people either can't get to the local food pantry, or the local food pantry is out of food, and they've got to get through a weekend till they get paid if they have a new job. And I think it's really important that they know that there is a food pantry available. And the other thing I'd like to talk about is the weatherization program, because I think there are a lot of people 60 and over who don't realize that that exists. And basically, I just want to say that basically what that is, it's a grant provided by the USDA so that people can get their homes weatherized, and I think that's a great
Well, the
thing to-
weatherization program has been drastically cut in funding, drastically. Now, folks have to come to us for fuel assistance before they qualify for weatherization. So when we do a fuel assistance application, we talk to people about their dwelling, and if we refer to weatherization. Now, there is a priority list they have, because the funding has been cut. 3 years ago, we had 4 full-time people in administering the program, and we had 2 of our own crews out there working. We're now down to 2 people, the director and an auditor, and that's it. So the funding and the waiting list is huge, but there are priorities. My concern, being fuel assistance director, is getting red-tagged furnaces up and running. And obviously weatherization, because I don't like to put fuel into a tank and have it go out the windows. So I work real closely with the weatherization department. Unfortunately, the funding at the federal level has been drastically cut. I don't get the logic, but they keep fighting for it, so. And we have a great relationship. The local utilities, the state utilities, have the utility piece that he's been able to pull a lot of dollars out of that to do a lot of weatherization, too.
I also have heard from our citizens of the great work that your program does. We've also heard how you saved the town of Tilton many dollars with providing services that would cost us a fortune through welfare and that kind of program. The people I've talked to find your staff friendly, very helpful, and I was really happy to hear that a local bank has stepped up and is providing monies to the community that it's supposed to be serving. For that, I applaud you, and we'll give them their commercial break. Franklin Savings Bank.
Yes.
Yay.
Okay, anything further from either the Budget Committee or the Board of Selectmen? I want to thank you for coming in on a rainy...
It is rainy.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, folks.
Thank you.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Keep up the good work.
And I appreciate the good words. I will extend them to Gail.
I was going to say, tell Gail when you
Oh, I
start.
will, because she likes to hear that. She needs a shot in the arm.
It looks like you have advertising for a job. You guys have an opening also?
I put that in every budget
Oh,
because
in
this
case it
last,
happens.
well, this last summer, from about April till just this last 2 weeks, I had an opening, I filled 7 openings, that one reason or another, people left, they moved, whatever. So I decided when we were doing the budgets this year, I said, let's just put a line item in there. You know, if it doesn't get used, it doesn't get used, but hopefully I won't have any jobs.
Thank you for your good work.
Thank you, please.
Okay, let us move on. We're doing well tonight, folks. We're actually 5 minutes ahead, and I still got voice. On to, we had discussed last week, bringing forward to this meeting several of the normal requests for funding, so we could discuss and vote on it. I would like to make a motion at this point in time that we fund the following: Island Concert Series for $2,000, Old Home Day for $3,000, Park Cemetery, my eyes are getting bad too, for $5,000, and, let's see, the other one is
Birch Hill.
Casa for $500, and,
Birch Hill Kennels.
well, I think we're going to talk about Birch Hill Kennels separately. So my motion is inclusive of those requests. Do I hear a second?
I second it.
Any discussion?
What was the reason for the Old Home Day going up by 500?
What was that, sir?
I noticed the Old Home Day went up by 500, I wasn't sure.
Pat, Catherine?
I have no
I think
idea.
it's just lack of, there were some supporters that didn't support, and the costs go up, but the lack of the money they're able to raise outside of what they get from the towns, because they do have fundraising events, has not been what it was.
The last few years, they've been tapping into what little that they had and chipping away at that, which is, they don't have that much anymore in there.
They
Yes.
make no profit when they have Old Home Day. There's no profit at all made.
So their balance in their fund was $3,911, and that's
Advertising usually offsets the cost and expense of some of the events, and advertising is way down. I do know that. People purchasing advertising.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? So passed. Now, Birch Hill Kennels. Birch Hill Kennels, I understand, is a contract service. It was put underneath outside agencies, just to put it in the budget someplace that we could look at it. I would make a motion that we defer a decision on the Birch Hill Kennels until such time as the Select Board's budget has been created and presented to the Budget Committee.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Okay, so the last one we did, it wasn't including Birch Hill Kennel. Correct. I missed that. It's like,
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? So passed. Okay, moving on to scheduling. We have 2 items. One is a reschedule for Tilton Pines. I attempted to contact Jim Doan this morning. He had the day off, finally had a day off. I've left a message for him to call me with a time that he will be comfortable with, and a caveat that I needed some information. The information around how many of Tilton residents were actually on scholarships for last year and for the preceding 5 years. And so I've hooked him onto both of those. So as soon as I hear, and hopefully we'll be able to take a look at that next week. So whenever I hear for a date, I will let the Budget Committee, the Board of Selectmen know what his preference is. Next week, we can discuss and vote upon that scheduling. Is the Budget Committee comfortable with that? Board of Selectmen, are you comfortable with that? Okay, Genesis. We moved Genesis to this week in regards to whether or not we wanted to schedule him. Okay? For purpose of this discussion, I make the motion that we do schedule Genesis for a time to come make a presentation. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay? Any discussion?
I'd like to make it later on in the season, when we have an idea what everything else is
Okay,
doing.
we'll do that. Let's see if we're actually going to schedule them first. There may be a conflict to that. Okay? All those,
What kind of conflict?
we may be voted down. Voted up or voted down.
Oh, okay.
Okay? All those in favor, please say aye.
Boy, what are we voting in favor of?
Voting in favor of scheduling Genesis for a presentation. And that's it. All those in favor, please say aye.
I'll say aye.
Aye.
Okay? Those opposed?
Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
2-2, motion does not pass.
Okay.
On to,
They're in limbo, right? That's what we, yeah.
John, do you have something? Go ahead.
Just on a personal note, I thought it might be nice to have them do a teleconference for their presentation, just like they do with their clients.
Okay.
And
To-
we're
to help
serious
them when
about, we're serious about that.
Okay, here's what I would suggest. John,
we
let us
could
bring
set
that,
that up.
let us bring that up for next meeting. Okay?
Okay.
And if we want to do that, let's deal with
The
that.
video conference thing
Okay,
that they have.
that next meeting. Okay, let the minutes reflect, the vote was tied to a piece. Motion did not carry by majority. Not bad, I got that out. Finally, okay. Other business. John, last week, you had suggested a day for the public hearings. Would you like to make a motion as to those dates?
Yeah, I have to look at the date. Put them down. Actually, if we could table that till next week, and I'll speak to Joyce. The selectmen didn't meet last.
Okay.
And Joyce is the guru on the scheduling.
Your preference is to postpone till next week?
Yeah, setting
not a
that date,
problem.
we got some time.
Yep.
But
Committee-
basically, it was to set up enough time so that if we missed it, we could still have another one, which is the bond one, which would be a dual purpose if we missed the first.
So you'll be ready for next meeting with those dates?
Sure.
Is the committee comfortable with that? Okay. Other business to come before the committee?
I had a question. It was actually on scheduling. We had one group that was up in the air and were thinking about submitting for funding for the, no, well, Big Brothers and also for
CERT.
CERT Ebola. Did we ever get anything from them?
We didn't. I got a communication back that she couldn't open up the application, but was going to fax it. I wonder if it's downstairs.
When did you speak
Let
to
us,
her?
Catherine, I asked the group, hold it open for one more week, so that Catherine can check, not today,
No, I'm gonna make a note for myself.
okay? And we'll take it up for next week. The other thing on the agenda is next week we are due to hear. Which ones? Lakes Region Planning Commission, Association of the Blind. Okay? We also are going to discuss CAP and Winnie Transit. The other business I have is, Tim did send, and Stan, hopefully you got it, a breakdown of the miscellaneous fund. Okay, are there any questions or discussion that we need to have? Or feel free to direct those to Tim,
Okay,
whatever you're comfortable with.
okay. It just concerns me that it's out there and it's,
It shouldn't be directed to Tim, I think. If he has a question on the miscellaneous expenses, under the administrative budget, that should be directed at the select.
Okay. Are you comfortable with that, sir? Also, John, and
Yes.
not next meeting, but the meeting afterwards, could we have a readout on the mileage from the police department?
Sure.
Okay. Any other business before the committee?
I just had a follow-up
Yeah,
on
go
an
ahead.
old piece. There was the John brought up a few meetings ago about the pay change on one of the personnel, and it's going to be in the budget, and I thought we were going to have a discussion today, and we don't have to have a full discussion. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on it and some of the,
Go ahead,
what I
sir.
found. And what I found was, after going through the wage survey that we had from 2012, the new one's coming out, but just some quick math on our group meaning our town size, 2,000 to 5,000 people range, and that job description that we were discussing, of the full-time people in that group, the 2,000 to 5,000, I just did an average, and that being from 2012, it was substantially low, what our job
Was paying.
was paying. And from the beginning of first seeing a financial, it would just overwhelm me what we were paying for people and salaries. And just reading that wage survey, the whole state of New Hampshire pays municipal employees very well. Just doing research on, and just broad averages, broad average of this one that I looked at, or that one that I looked at, and everything I looked at, we're right in range. We might be a little over on one, or a little under on one, but we're in the ballpark, and at that point, as far as I'm concerned, well, that's now the department heads' decisions and how they do specifics to personnel, like we were having the discussion. You know, I don't want people's personnel issues. I don't want to know for the meeting. I just want to make sure we're in the ballpark, and we're in the ballpark on everything I've seen. And that's why when I see it, I mean, to the point where I'm ready to go back to school to try and get a political science degree, just to try and get a municipal job inside of the state of New Hampshire, but just for the taxpayers to know, and anybody who sees, without going into details of certain jobs, the town of Tilton is not crazy with their amounts. We're right on the averages. We're in the ballpark on everything. Obviously, some people are going to be higher, some people are going to be lower if they just started the position, things of that nature. But it was comforting to me to see that we were right where we should be. And as a matter of fact, it brought up that for a town our size, it's rare to have the commercial interest that we have in our town. And that expands the prices of a lot of things. And to see that we get as good of a roads as we do, even though I live on Califf Hill, that's the state's fault.
You live on this end of
We got great roads, we got a great police department. I mean, there are meth lab cooking operations right across the street from the veterinarian's hospital. There's one right down the street that got busted last year. We have a great welfare department, and everything that we get, the bang that we get for our buck, I think is to be applauded.
Thank you.
And my skepticism has been
Erased.
or I'm still skeptical. I shouldn't say that. I'm skeptical of everything.
I was
but-
shocked, when I first came on the Budget Committee, I too was shocked at how much municipal employees got paid. And because in many cases, they're paid more than private industry, and that
Yeah.
really surprised me. But that's
Surprised
just
me
my
big.
comment.
And to all those kids out there wondering what to get into.
Municipal.
Yeah, don't be afraid of political science if you live in New Hampshire.
And you, John, I thank you, and I applaud you
Yeah.
for the research. The other one that scares me is school. If we're paying superintendents and principals $100,000, $150,000, which is unheard of in this community. But yeah, I raise the same question. The focus of our group and committee is to raise that skepticism in a fair and just way. And I found that to be done, and I think that was great.
Yep.
Any further discussion? If not, the chair will entertain, for the last a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday. And thank you, Pat.